Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over Tiamat, the exclusive dragon that is currently available in the vault from Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. So, let's get into it. Tiamat is a 21 mana 10/10 dragon god mythic creature. It has flying, is legendary, and has leader dragon. Finally, Tiamat has the ability, when you cast this card, fetch up to the first 5 different dragon cards from your library that are not named Tiamat. Those cards gain half their mana. Those cards gain enchanted. When this creature enters the battlefield, reinforce it. Now, the crazy thing about Tiamat is, well, actually there are many crazy things about Tiamat, but one of the many crazy things about Tiamat is that the part of it that says those cards gain enchanted when this creature enters the battlefield, reinforcement, that enchanted buff actually stacks. So if you have cast, say, 2 Tiamats, you have pulled 2 dragons, and then you cast both of them, the first one will reinforce once, and the second one will reinforce twice. You are seeing some footage of that actually in the background, or you just saw some footage of that in the background, just of that interaction. So not only is Tiamat a 10/10 flyer for 21, not only does Tiamat fetch your other creatures, because if you're playing Tiamat, you're probably playing dragons, but Tiamat's going to give them half of their mana, and is going to make it so that when you cast them, when you cast the ones that you fetched with Tiamat, and then all future copies of those dragons get buffed even more than they already are. Tiamat is a card that is so incredibly powerful that I would actually state that there is a very fair argument for this being the most powerful creature to ever enter Puzzle Quest, because of the addition of other dragons that have come out lately. The dragons that exist in Puzzle Quest right now, I think, are the best creatures in Puzzle Quest, bar none. Between Tiamat, the UR dragon, Gnawbone, Velomachus, there are just so many dragons, and I understand that this is at the Mythic and Masterpiece level. So if you're watching this, you're like, my dude, those dragons that you're talking about are at the Mythic and Masterpiece level. I know. But all of the great dragons in this set, apart from the UR dragon, have a full art variant from Fiblethip. So you're going to be able to pick up the super nasties, be it Tiamat, Inferno of the Star Mounts, Old Gnawbone, Emerith, whichever of those dragons it is that you want to pick up, you're going to be able to pick them up, even though they're at the mythic level. So if you just save up your mana crystals, you will be able to get these wildly overpowered creatures. But there are also some good uncommon and rare dragons, and even Avaricious Dragon is a phenomenal dragon from Origins. I know, once again, it's a mythic, but it comes with Brokhan. So if you have Brokhan, you actually get Avaricious Dragon with Brokhan. So Tiamat happens to be a card that I think fairly strongly, if you are up against a person that has Tiamat, and you don't have Tiamat, and they are using Tiamat, then you are going to be starting that match at a disadvantage, because Tiamat is just that strong. Because one cast of Tiamat is then going to get them 2 other creatures, and that are going to be like super powerful. The dragons in this game are just really, really strong. This isn't like paper Magic where higher cost cards are bad. This is very different. Paper Magic, the higher the mana cost, typically the less playable the card is. Whereas in Puzzle Quest, the higher the mana cost, or the higher mana cost cards tend to be better, because we have ways of getting just absolutely exorbitant amounts of mana, just because of the nature of it being a match 3 game instead of it being a you play 1 land per turn game. So Tiamat is an absolute game changer. Now, how can you get Tiamat, right? So Tiamat is, as I said earlier, currently available in the vault. You can pick up Tiamat for $20. It's $20 US, and then it'll be a little bit different based on whatever your currency is. But Tiamat's going to cost you about $20. Alternatively, and on the plus side, because this is a pay-to-play card at the moment, there is a full art variant of Tiamat. So this is a card that will become available from Fiblethip's findings. So if you're not a person who puts money in the game, this isn't a situation like Borrow, where you're just going to be, for the duration of that standard, at a forever disadvantage for not having Borrow. It's not like that, where you're just going to be at a forever disadvantage because you didn't buy Tiamat. You should be able to pick up Tiamat from Fibblethip. However, please do understand that at the time of me making this video, unless some events come out that make it so that there's a distinct disadvantage for you using those dragons, or the dragons get nerfed, then if you do not buy Tiamat, or you do not pick up Tiamat from Fibblethip's findings, then you will be at an inherent disadvantage against anyone who is using this card, because it is absolutely that strong. Velomachus just breaks the game. Tiamat fetches Velomachus and gives it half its mana, and if you have the chance to see Tiamat with Velomachus and the UR Dragon in action, all three at the same time, there isn't a lot of room for good counterplay. We're about to see a standard rotation where some of our best removal is going to be cycling out. Ruinous Ultimatum is going to be gone. Mythos of Nethroi is going to be gone. We're losing a lot of removal in a lot of different colors. So this is not me saying that I want Tiamat to be nerfed. Please do not misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that Tiamat is, I think, the strongest creature that has entered the game yet, because of the other dragons that exist. So if you have any other dragons, pick this thing up. Now, this is where I'm going to end my talking. The whole world is sort of conspiring against me right now to make videos. Firstly, I am not on my own account. I am on one of those guest accounts. I had to play through training mode to be able to get to this screen. I do personally have Tiamat. Tiamat was not sent to me by Octagon, so I'm not making this video after they sent Tiamat to me. I bought Tiamat with my own money when the set released. So this is one where I'm making this video, and I bought the card to test it, and I still think it's absolutely bonkers, and you should get it. Granted, my opinion never changes on those things, if they send it to me versus not, but just in the event that you are one of those people who thinks that I am influenced by those sorts of things, I bought this card. So that's the first thing. The other thing is I have an upper respiratory infection right now, which makes talking a little bit not fun. So you might hear it in my voice right now. But yeah, okay, so let's go ahead and see Tiamat in action. So this first match is going to be using Tiamat with the UR Dragon and Velomachus. And this was actually my very first match using the UR Dragon and Tiamat together. So believe it or not, this was take one. You're going to see very quickly just how absolutely ridiculous these dragons are together. This happens to be the only piece of footage in this video where I am going to be showcasing Tiamat with the UR Dragon. The other footage is actually going to be using Tiamat without the UR Dragon. Now, at the start of my turn, you saw all of my creatures gain 3 mana in my hand. That's because I have a UR Dragon in my hand, and the UR Dragon does indeed give you mana to all of your dragons every single turn in your hand. So I'm charging up the Shatterskull Smashing here first, just in case Daxos winds up playing a creature. If Daxos doesn't start casting creatures quickly, then I'm going to guess that Daxos is going to use the first ability. Daxos' first puts a token creature on the battlefield, and generally Greg is going to spam that first ability. Greg doesn't save up for the third ability, doesn't use the second ability, typically just spams the first ability as soon as he has access to it. So you'll see that there are 2 UR Dragons. Both UR Dragons are going to be giving 3 mana, so I'm currently getting 6 mana to all of my dragons every single turn. And so here I decided that I actually wanted to maybe try and get Valakut down too. I just wanted to get as much gem conversion down as I could so that I could just try and have a really big boom turn. So here comes the first Tiamat, and that first Tiamat is going to fetch 2 dragons. I'm only using 2 dragons other than Tiamat in this deck. Those dragons are Velomachus and the UR Dragon. And you'll see that the UR Dragon, as I think I have 3 copies of it now, is now, all 3 of them are giving mana to the dragons in my hand. So now all the dragons in my hand are getting 9 extra mana per turn. Now at this point, it doesn't really make too much sense for me to hold on to my Shatterskull Smashing unless I'm going to be emptying my hand. So I'm just making sure that I'm going to be able to do that. And you'll see that the first UR dragon that's in my hand has the enchanted symbol right there, so it's going to reinforce once. The first Velomachus also has it, so it's going to reinforce once. And then all subsequent dragons that I play of those types are going to immediately reinforce. So I've casted 2 Velomachuses, but in spite casting 2 Velomachuses, I have 4 Velomachuses on the board because of Tiamat's absolutely ridiculous ability with her fetch. Now, Daxos did do exactly as I said and played out the little token right there, but that's really no big deal because I do have a Ruinous Ultimatum in my hand. I have another Tiamat, and so here's where it gets crazy, guys. If I chose, for example, right, if there was a world where I didn't kill Daxos here, then when I played the Tiamat would just keep fetching me more dragons. You snowball into so much power so quickly, so easily with these dragons that it just becomes absolutely absurd. Now you'll see that I did freeze down the 2 UR dragons in my hand there, and I actually froze them down because I was hoping that I wouldn't kill Daxos here, but I'm about to use a Ruinous Ultimatum on my opponent's Ixis, and I wound up just counting out how much damage I would do if I cast the Tiamat here, and it was fatal. So you'll see that I'm going to get an additional 40 power from the UR dragons, and this is it. There's really no way to play around it. Between you're always getting all these dragons, Velomachus is getting you Ruinous, and that's a very dead Darth Tater. So let's go ahead and check out how Tiamat plays with some other dragons. This second match was one of my day 1 Koth decks, and so you'll see that I'm using Tiamat, I'm using the Starmount Dragon, and I'm using Velomachus again. So the idea here is just to get some gem conversion going because Koth, and then once I've got some gem conversion going, then to try and just play out my dragons. So I am going to indeed play the Tiamat first here. I'm going for playing the Tiamat first just because, I mean, dragons, you know? I will move the Enchanted, once again, I'm moving the Enchanted Velomachus and the Enchanted Inferno of the Starmounts up in my hand, just so that I can get the most out of them. And then I'm going to play the Den of the Bugbear there, just so that I've got more red conversion down. I want to be able to play all the dragons that wind up coming to my hand. I'm very fortunate here, and I pull another Escape of the Wilds, and so I'm able to play the Starmount. It immediately reinforces because of Tiamat, and immediately gets double strike and haste. So the Inferno of the Starmounts is just immediately coming in for 32 damage, which is just, like, the thing with this deck is that the dragons don't get to as much power because you kill your opponent so quickly that there just isn't time for the dragons to build up power. So you'll see that Nissa has 113 health, and just watch how quickly it melts. She just melts like butter. So we're going to get a Shatter Skull Smashing here, just in the event that Nissa winds up playing a creature. I could have tried to pull a Ruinous Ultimatum, but whatever. And you'll see that we did over half of Nissa's health there in just one swing. And so this turn, no matter what I do, she's going to die. So even though the numbers don't look as large here, because the Inferno of the Starmounts has double strike, and just because of how quickly you're able to get the dragons out due to Koth's mana bonus, the games end just insanely fast. I want to say that this particular clip was part of like 7 or 8 games, and the 7 or 8 games took me a total of 17 minutes to play in standard. And this was with me trying to figure out the cards too. I would hazard a guess that under normal circumstances, this deck would have an average kill time of 2 minutes or less. So it's just absolutely filthy, absolutely lethal. And once again, there really just isn't a lot of counterplay to it because it's so powerful, so fast, with so much fetch, with mana, and that's it. So that's Tiamat, just absolutely terrifying. This match is so that I can show you all how Tiamat is going to work when you are using Tiamat with combo dragons. And what I mean by combo dragons is I mean 2 dragons that synergize with each other so that you can get a greater effect. Old Gnawbone happens to synergize with a lot of cards, and there's specifically another dragon that Old Gnawbone synergizes with even more powerfully than the one that I'm showcasing here. However, that is going to be a separate video entirely. Nonetheless, I did want to show off how Gnawbone and the Hellkite Tyrant are able to play together here, just so you could get an idea for what Tiamat could be like if you decide to build dragon combo decks. So the idea here is you want to try and get Tiamat down as quickly as you can, right? That's going to be the first dragon that you want to get down. If you don't get Tiamat down first, then the other dragon that you'd want to get down first is going to be Gnawbone. If you're not able to get Tiamat or Gnawbone down first, then you're generally going to be better off trying to just put down cards that are going to convert gems for you or draw cards. So that's going to be Tiamat number 1. You'll see that Sorin has 2 cards fully charged in hand. That led me to believe that they were probably removal. So the second card in Sorin's hand here is probably going to be a kill spell, which is fine for me. It just means that I'm going to need to play the cards that I have in my hand in order to get Sorin to burn out his removal. So I'm going to use the Gnawbone first just because it costs less mana. And just in case I'm wrong and it's not a removal, or in case Sorin decides to make the incredibly boneheaded mistake of not killing Gnawbone, then I'll be able to just combo off that much easier. So Gnawbone's coming down here. You'll see that Gnawbone is reinforcing from Tiamat, and you'll see that indeed Sorin is going to kill the old Gnawbone there. So Sorin definitely did have more removal. Now, at this point, I do want to play the Hellkite Tyrant a little bit, but it's not like I absolutely must play this right this very moment. I'd rather actually just get this crazy green into red into blue, or green into blue into red match on the left, which I actually skipped out on this turn. Maybe I go for it next turn? I'm not sure. We'll see. Or, you can just cringe with me as I made the wrong play. But you'll see that Sorin has a card fully charged in hand. I'm once again guessing that that's going to be removal. So I am indeed... this is where I take the green into blue into red. Yeah. I knew I did, but... Oh well, so I'm gonna play this Hellkite Tyrant just so that I can get Sorin to blow through more removal. And here's the other thing about this, right? So this is part of why I'm saying this is so ridiculous. Even though Sorin has a bunch of removal, even though Sorin is killing all of my dragons, I'm still so far ahead in the lead that even with all this removal, it really doesn't mean anything, because I've got Brokhan's third, which is now going to give all the dragons I'm about to play haste, which means that Tiamat is going to come down. And, oh no, I've got 3 Tiamats to play here. Oh no. So the Gnawbones are going to have haste. That means that the Gnawbone and the Hellkite Tyrants are going to come down. They're going to make a whole bunch of wonderful gems for me, so the treasure tokens. And then not only am I going to get all those treasure tokens, but at the beginning of my turn, I'm going to gain 30 loyalty from the Hellkite Dragon, because if you have, I want to say it's like 10 or 15 or more artifacts on the board, you get 30 loyalty per turn. So the dragon with Gnawbone with the Tyrant on the board at the same time is just an automatic 30 loyalty per turn. And then the other thing about it that's kind of crazy, right, is that if Sorin makes a match, pretty much the whole board is going to be treasured. So he's going to be giving me 9 mana right there off of that white match. And then by making that match, there's also going to be some gems that can convert from my gem conversion, which is going to give me mana. And on top of giving me mana, it's also going to give me this beautiful 5 match here. So at this point, I'm able to use my third ability again because of the Tyrant. I've got a 5 match, which means I can try and empty my hand a little bit here. And so in emptying my hand, I'm able to get all of my dragons out, and they're going to reinforce even more because of Tiamat. Remember, all subsequent copies of dragons that we play are going to reinforce, and this is absolutely game over. There's absolutely nothing that Sorin can do here. And then I've got 3 more Tiamats that I just drew. I'm going to be able to play the other Hellkite Tyrant that's in my hand when I make this blue into loyalty match. I was kind of hoping that I'd get a 5 match out of this so that I'd be able to cast the other dragons that I'm about to draw here with Tiamat, but that was not the case. It was not in the cards, pun intended, but it didn't matter because, I mean, look at this power, right? I went from not almost nothing, but I went from not too much to 250 power in a turn, and it's haste, and it's disgusting. So in my could definitely be more humble opinion, Tiamat is an absolute must-have card. I think that the footage generally showed off how ridiculous this dragon is in conjunction with the other dragons that are in this set, and even some of the elder dragons like Velomachus from the previous set. Fortunately, I was able to get back on my account this morning so that I could go ahead and finish up this video. You'll see that Tiamat is already close to half of an EXP bar, which for me is substantial and saying something because I don't typically level cards up that much. But Tiamat is absolutely a card that's going to be mastered in no time flat. So I'm saying this from myself buying this card. I'm saying to you that you definitely need to get this card. I'm not saying that you have to buy this card. I'm saying that you need to get this card. So either you should buy it or you should get it for crystals and make sure that you have 400 crystals saved up. I actually think that this is a card that is more worth having than the Prismatic Bridge. It is that good. So thank you, as always, for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.